Me, Kova, and my husband Jim, we all got to make them. What do you think, honey?
Okay.
Oh. Can everybody hear me okay? Hands up if you can hear me. I should put on slow chat. It's already too fast. My bad. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, you know Kyra's watching this. You know she's watching. Alright, good. Glad you can hear me. So, how's everybody doing? Should I bust out the guitar tonight or what? That intro. The intro for me never gets old. Like, I've seen that intro a million times, and I'm still like, I still laugh at the Kyra, the bad recorder. It's a bit quiet, is it? Let me turn it up for you. Let me see if I can do that. Automatically must try that. How was that now? A little bit better. Where's everybody from? Quick roll call. Yeah, Kyra's watching, so let her know where you're from. I haven't done a live in a long time, guys, just because this renovation is like taking all of my time. I have so many projects for the spring at my house that I can't even play pickleball. Like, come on. USA, Massachusetts. Windsor. Windsor smells funny. I look tan because I've been literally living outdoors. And I'm wearing a white sweater, so maybe that's it. Freddie. Little Freddie. Yeah. Love it. Love to see it. Much love from Colorado. I love Colorado. Never been, but I'm sure it's nice. Sydney, Australia, where all the spiders live. Where is hot Dr. Leslie? I'll believe anything she says because she's so hot. That's okay. I mean, you shouldn't believe someone because they're hot, right? I mean, I know that there is hot privilege. I know all about it because, like, look at me. Here's my question for people who are hot, though, for real. Hot, like, imagine being, like, Henry Cavill and going through life, right? Sydney Sweeney, Alexandra Daddario. Like, imagine just being so hot and having to go through life. Like, that's got to be fun, right? It's got to be fun. I don't know. I know what it's like to go through life as a potato. So, we have that. Newfoundland. My neighbors went to Newfoundland. They're there for a month. It's cool. It's at least it's fantastic being hot. And humble. It's fantastic to be humble. Hey, Ross. Someone just said say hi to Ross. Pretty girl privilege. There we go. Potatoes untie. Ooh, St. Catharines, my old stomping grounds. I love me some St. Kitts. So we're going to be reacting to the interview with Kyra on Isaac Rochelle's podcast. So, and of course, yes, she's absolutely pregnant. I'm surprised she hasn't said it yet. She's posting pictures. She's 6 months pregnant, everybody. Like, I've been talking about it for months. She is 100% pregnant. I don't know what she's going to do. Just one day she's going to just show up on video and have another baby there. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thanks, Lori. Appreciate you. She needs to slow her ass down. Yeah, 6 C-sections. Coming up on 6. Yeah, like the post that she posted today, she's clearly pregos. Pargnate. Cape Cod. There we go. All right, so, I mean, it's a long podcast, so I just wanted to say hi to everybody, then we'll get right into it. Virginia Beach, thank you very much, Susan Custea. I appreciate you. Is Virginia Beach nice? Oh, yeah. Speaking of merch, guys, go to the dadchallengepodcast.com right now. My store is live. Get yourself some merch. Kids can't consent to being influencers. Yes, I got a Gypsy Rose video coming up soon. I got lots of merch. I got a drop like this happening right now. We got stuff. What's this one? What is this shirt? Am I lagging? If I'm lagging, is that my fault? It could be my fault. What is this shirt? It's a blank shirt. Okay. Anyway, we got merch. Merch on merch. Head to dadchallengepodcast.com to get your stuff. Lag. Am I lagging? Because if that sucks if I am. I hope not. Just refresh your feed. Sometimes it does that. My internet's kind of crappy out here, but someday we'll have better internet. Okay. Let's get right to the video. I mean, I got it up here. I'm going to put my video over here. Hey, Australia. Okay, and I'm going to put this video over here because I like to look at it from this side. Now, I'm going to watch it with the ad just because when you watch someone's video, you got to watch their ads. That's how they get paid. So I'm obviously going to Isaac's page to watch this. I got to get my headphones. Where's me headphones, eh? Whoa. What a mess. There we go. Okay. Okay. What's this mean? I don't even know what that means. Okay, famous, I see you. Look at the views. Okay. Watching from Western New York. Right on. I love it. Okay, so let's get this thing going here. Sorry, I just had to get this going. Turn this down. Share screen. Share. Yeah! Let's full screen it. Okay, let's watch it.
Essentially, 3 years ago, I was fired from my job. I was so happy.
Wait, what'd she say?
I felt like finally, with so many different areas, like not just a breakup that had happened, you know, everything's gonna just be great now. And then it was so the opposite. Yeah. And that was like, hey, that's not how that was supposed to work out, you know? And so, yeah, I definitely feel like I lost.
What's up, everyone? We are back, and we have Kyra Sivertson on today. This is a big deal because in my life, I feel like Kyra has been around forever. Allie and I started dating in 2014, which, by the way, feels like another lifetime. But when we started dating, Allie was very persistent with YouTube. She was carrying around the camera all the time, and we also watched a lot of YouTube. So because of that, some of the biggest YouTube
guys, you don't know who Isaac is. I think he's an ex-NFL player. His wife's an influencer, and they decided not to show their kids. I got mad respect for him for doing that. And he's like venturing out and doing his thing. So just wanted, if you didn't know who he was, that's who he is. So let's get to it here.
influencers, Aspen Ovard, we watched. Kyra Sivertson, Okay Baby, we spent a lot of time watching, and just a lot of other ones. But Kyra in particular, I feel like we were so committed to her life with Oscar and their channel. So I know a lot about Kyra. I've seen the ups and downs. And most recently, it feels like it's just been exclusively bad for Kyra. It started off with a breakup video, which we'll talk about in the episode, with her.
That breakup video, man. Like, to this day, I'm like, are you sure?
And Oscar, after having 4 kids together, being together for years, they post this breakup video that really felt like it was like in real time. Come to find out, she was dating her employee's husband, ? Like, if you're hearing it and you're like, what's going on? That's a proper reaction to that. And then come to find out, she was having threesomes, you know, all these like random things that came together to create the story of Kyra that really looked bad. She had essentially 8 years of bliss, making tons of money, top of the YouTube world, 1.5 million subscribers, to literally her whole world crashing down. We already recorded the episode. She was extremely vulnerable, and we talked about everything. There's nothing in her life that happened that we did not touch on. Now,
but I'm sure she didn't tell you the whole truth, like 100%.
Here's the important piece to think about when listening to this episode. Anytime we have somebody on and ask them these tough questions, they're going to give the best version of the answers. They're going to give the answers that,
how's that? Is that better?
1, sound the best, and they're going to give the answers that 2, in their mind, they have formulated and believed to be true. Now, Kyra gave us a lot of information. She didn't shy away from any question. But that being said, there could be a lot of information that she left out. Because again, she's giving the best version for herself. Now, my conclusion when I was leaving the interview, I was excited that she was so vulnerable. I just appreciated her coming on. And I value somebody that's willing to look at adversity and look at criticism and public scrutiny and deal with it. And that's
so it looks like sounds like he's doing this post interview, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly what she did. I know for a fact that this episode is going to end up on SNARK pages. This episode is going to be covered and probably watched in real time by people. And I love that.
Hey,
I want this to turn into a dialogue. You guys need to let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Let's get into it. That's the whole point of this. This is juicy to talk about. Best part of this, I'm going to ask the questions you can't, because I'm Isaac Rochelle and this is Don't Worry, I'll Ask.
I like the name of this podcast. That's pretty cool. Don't worry, I'll ask.
Enjoy the episode.
Can you guess who is currently studying for an MBA at UFred? This is Sarah and this is Alex.
I don't think you understand how deep the lore goes with me and Allie watching like your stuff. It's been years. So Allie started trying to do YouTube when we first started. She was already doing it, but when we first started dating in 2014, she was carrying around camera and like trying to record, and we would watch Okay Baby, which is crazy, right? That was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And we would
I was
watch
like
you
a child. Like, who let me have the camera in my hands?
It's what? How old were you?
I was 18, I think, maybe 17.
So young.
Yeah.
Well, Aspen Ovard, who I interviewed, started when she was 14. Something about Utah. Something in the Utah water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Satan.
Well, okay, we got to start. There's so many places that I could take this conversation, because you've had a lot over the last, let's call it like 3 years. You're probably just like, I just need a second to breathe.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the first pregnancy. And I want to understand the timeline a little bit. Were you guys vlogging before you got pregnant, or was it like, because you mentioned it was kind of like for memories?
Yeah. No, we.
Yeah. I love this excuse for family vloggers, though, when they're always like, we film for memories. No, you don't. Shut up. No, you don't. You film for money.
We're pregnant.
Guys, is it really that quiet? Is my microphone that quiet? I don't know if I can turn it up anymore. Here, let me just check here. Where's my mic? I don't know. I can try. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. How's that? Is that any better at all? Let's check 1 2 1 2. Check. Because it's crazy, because people are like, it's good, and then other people are like, it's terrible. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All right, here we go.
And then we were moving to Montana, and our family lived mostly in California. And then I knew when I was 18, I wanted to start, once I graduated high school, doing makeup videos, which I laugh at now because I hate makeup. And like, that would have never
You're a
worked out
makeup
for
girly,
me.
we get it.
Yeah, like but that was what was popular at the time, you know?
Sure.
So people wanted to do that. So anyways, then I got pregnant and I was like, well, maybe we can just make videos about like our life in Montana and moving there. And so it kind of started off as like videos for our family, but like also hoping people watched, because even though it wasn't like a big thing then, people still had somewhat of an audience and it was cool. So I was like, oh yeah, let's try this. And Oscar was so on board and he learned everything. Like that's
he was
one thing.
editing, right?
Yeah. And when
Obviously, have you seen her editing? Obviously. Her children can edit better. There's echo now? Man, I don't know what to tell you guys. I got headphones on. I'm trying to... Maybe it's too loud in my headphones for you. Try that. Anyways.
when Oscar likes something, it's like all in, which was great because I could read something over and over again and never understand it. So he figured it all out. I had like my camera already. My dad had bought me a couple of years before, and then I never used it. So I was already pregnant, and then we moved. And because we were, I think, one of the first, if not the first, like teen parents on YouTube.
Man, she's aged 35 years in the past 5 years.
It kind of gained traction, I say really quickly now, but it didn't feel like it at the time. It did take like a year or two. But now I look back and I'm like, that's really hard to achieve in like a year or two.
Hard. When you think about like the first year, 2 years, what's the thing now that you look back at and you're like, immediately, no, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
That is such a good question.
And watch how I don't answer it.
I think I got really, 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 really attached to what I did.
The money?
You know, I really like loved making YouTube videos, and especially not necessarily, because actually, fun fact, really hated editing and like the filmmaking, even though it was vlogging. I didn't hate that, but it like wasn't my favorite part because it was stressful. God forbid I do something stressful in my life.
Yeah. Can we start a petition, please, to stop influencers from saying their life is stressful? Imagine that you wake up in the morning, whatever time you want, and the only thing that you have to do is turn your camera on. Okay? Film you brushing your teeth and doing your hair and makeup. And then you turn your camera on while you make a shitty little breakfast. Okay? And then oh, gotta go to Target. Let's go! Dollar spat! Can we be real and just F off with that, okay? Can we be real with influencers saying they're busy and they're stressed? Like, F right off.
But I think that like I got really attached to the audience and like making friends that way, and I really relied on that for like my social happiness and like my self-confidence. And obviously that went great until it didn't 3 years ago, and then the whole internet hated me.
Gee, I wonder why. Cheater face, McFace cheater.
And it's hard in general for anybody. But then also I think I had like an attachment to my audience like I did a partner, and I felt like I lost everything. So I wish I would have taken what opportunities YouTube had given me from the beginning and like grew within myself with those opportunities rather than like building such an attachment.
Guys, I'm noticing too that she is lagging in the video. Is her voice lagging too? It's not. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why it's doing that. I can't fix that. I have no idea unless I download the video and we watch it that way, but I don't know. Whatever.
Which it can go both ways, because I also think building that attachment is what helps me grow. Right. Yeah. Like connecting with your audience and stuff. But I think I'm still going through that phase right now, like recovering from disconnecting with like people I was so close with.
Yeah.
You know, like my audience, which sounds kind of silly because it was a lot of people. Like, did you really have an attachment to all those people? But I felt like I did. No,
you had an attachment to the money you're making. You didn't know those people. They didn't know you. That's weird that influencers would say something like, I had an attachment to strangers on the internet. That's weird. That's weird.
You were also 18.
Yeah.
Like, you're navigating relationships or a relationship with people like virtually, and like you're young. You don't even know you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, like, you're also growing with Oscar at that point.
That's the thing. It was going the opposite direction. And that's why now, like my husband, I love when he's on the videos, but I will never again, like have that dynamic, because I I lost my relationship for a lot of reasons, but like
No, there's only one reason. You left, cheated and left. Allegedly cheated. She cheated. For a lot of reasons, the reason is you left for strange taint. That's the reason.
like that is a big one because we both were so into that in different ways that like there was no longer us. So we didn't grow together through it. We grew the opposite direction. I don't think either of us realized it till after all of it. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's been the best thing in my life, but it's also been the worst thing in my life.
Kyra, if it's the worst thing in your life, why are you still doing it? Shut up, dummy.
And I've really like the last 3 years been navigating like I love this so much, probably stupidly so, but like and I can't stop and I won't.
Sure.
But also like I'm so angry that I did this. I'm so angry that like
what? Ah!
Our warehouse is located in Dongguan, the biggest logistic hub in China.
Out of here.
at the internet and like these people that are like, oh, I love your videos. And it's like, no, you don't, because one day you would like instantly turn your back on me. But it's like, yeah, of course, they're just your viewer. And I'm like, no, they were my friends.
They're not your friends. You don't have any friends. Not even your viewers, your friends anymore. Your friends aren't your friends, and your viewers aren't your friends anymore.
Social relationship goes both ways. And with you guys, it's even more complicated because when OK Baby was at its prime, which I would love for people to understand like how intense the prime was, like you're just growing with these people. Like you were so entrenched with your audience. I mean, you were showing everything. You guys were posting daily, correct?
Yeah, daily vlogs for many years.
And how many subscribers did you guys have? Like, what was like the peak where you were like, okay, we're getting like 100,000 video or views of video? Like, what was the number?
In my mind, I remember when I felt like, holy shit, this is crazy, was 10,000. Like, I remember being at the post office and we were picking up fan mail because, like, back then, I don't know if people still do that.
PO box.
Yeah, like the PO boxes.
Okay.
And so I was there and we hit, I think I was there, but then we went home, something that day. But I remember we went to the post office that day. And we watched like our live subscriber count that people used to do. Fun. And it was 10,000. And I was like, this is so crazy. Like that, I couldn't grasp it. And then I swear we went from 10,000 to 1 million overnight. It wasn't overnight. It was years.
But 1 million is crazy.
But I think 1 million is so big, I actually couldn't grasp that. So 10,000 was like so surreal,
like
but I could grasp
You're
it.
just like, this is
like I don't even know what 1 million people looks like at all. And like also, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't grasp that many people. I would say the sweet spot though, 100,000 followers was
your sweet spot.
Yeah, like I felt like everybody who watched, I was able to read all the comments, mostly see all the messages, like mostly interact with everybody. And it felt like a community, but like, I don't know, just like close knit. And then, 1 million. And I was still grateful for 1 million. And like, I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't great. It was, but it was just different. That's when the pressure comes in. That's when like,
it got serious.
It's a career. And like, yeah, it's just a whole different level of what it was,
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's like me in the NFL. Like it's fun, and then you're like, oh wait, I'm in the NFL. This is a job. Like I could lose my job. Not that YouTube, you were worried about losing your job, but it's super intense.
Well, that's the thing. You think you can't lose it because it isn't. You can't be like dropped from it like the NFL. But like, essentially, 3 years ago,
you were dropped in your head though when you're small.
I was fired from my job, but I like loved my job and was like, no, I'll do.
Kyra, you were not fired from your job. This wasn't a regular job. You were self-employed. Did you fire yourself? I guess you sort of did. You weren't fired. Like, what kind of statement is this? You were canceled, I guess, if you want to call it something. You threw your family away for someone else's, for your best friend's husband. Let's just be real. You threw away your family, who you made millions of dollars with, who adored you in every way, so you could sleep with Preston, literally. And you slept with him before you threw your family away. So let's be real, you cheated, okay? So you could go live debaucherous lifestyle in Las Vegas. You threw it all away. You weren't fired from your job. And then when you threw it all away, you did videos with Oscar, revealing things to him live on those videos that were so crazy. And you're wondering why people hate you? You broke all the codes, man. You don't do that. Your best friend who was your employee, and then this guy who was also your employee, you slept with him, and you're like, why do people hate me? Like, if you just knew the truth.
Do anything, like, please don't fire me.
So do you feel like you lost everything like 3 years ago as you knew it? Like it's just totally different.
Yes, but I don't think necessarily all in a negative way. Like I think that's what was so weird too, is like I was so happy. I felt like finally with so many different areas, like not just a breakup that had happened, you know, so many things. I was like, okay, like I'm finally like just everything's going to just be great now.
Oh my, there's a lot of ads on this
I've got 2 interviews and able to enter a position with.
And then it was so the opposite. And that was like, hey, that's not how that was supposed to work out, you know? And so, yeah, I definitely feel like I lost.
The 3 years.
Not feel. You definitely lost. Like 98% of your income. Like these, don't forget, guys. Okay, Baby made millions of dollars. Millions. Okay, and now she makes thousands. Maybe thousands. Like 5,000 maybe a month. Maybe if she's lucky.
Years ago thing is wild. Because like you reference you guys having 1 million subscribers. Like your life went from I have 1 million subscribers, we're vlogging every day, to like I'm doing this video where Oscar and I are sitting down explaining to everybody that we're breaking up. I just want to like start with like what went into the thought process of even feeling obligated to tell people, because you guys shared a lot on those videos. They were very raw.
I think we were so used to sharing everything, and I don't regret
your children
every
that.
day.
Yeah, I really don't regret that, because I think that's how I made the connections and the friends that I did make. So I don't, even though a lot of it's embarrassing, like I don't regret that. I think though, because of how much, I mean, I showed panic attacks, I showed everything. And so it just felt like, well, that's the next step. Like, you know, most people are like, hey, we're getting a divorce and now you find a lawyer. And it's like, for us, it was like, hey, we're getting a divorce. Now we've got to make a YouTube video. Like,
no, you don't. You didn't have to do any of that. Like people, here's the thing. You don't have to. Okay. Like stop.
Just was like what we felt like was the next step. And it was stupid. Like, that's what I look back on. And I'm like, who gave a shit about the internet at that time? We were like losing everything we knew that wasn't, you know, like emotionally at least. And we thought to make a YouTube video, you know, like it just, I look back and cringe at myself because, whoa, why did I care to make a YouTube video?
Was it both you?
Because you're getting paid millions of dollars. What?
Did you guys like mutually agree like, hey, let's do this video? Or do you feel like it was one or the other?
I do remember disagreeing on the timeline for sure. I think that I don't remember a lot of that time, to be honest. I'm pretty good at disassociating. I kind of think it's a superpower though, so I'm not super mad at it. But a lot of it, I don't remember like exact details, but we both knew we had to make a YouTube video.
It had to be addressed at some point.
We both.
Yeah.
Felt like as the audience watching, because I didn't know you, it was just like, this is so real time. Like it felt, when I say it was raw, like it felt like I am literally
like, this is too soon.
Like this,
don't make
like
this video.
It felt like, and again, tell me if I'm wrong or explain it, but it felt like video was coming out and it was like, they just really discussed this, or it was like, this is being discussed right now. And there's obviously an editing process and all this. I just want to talk about like what went into releasing those. Because
here's what went into it. Bunch of dumbassery. You dumbass. Why does Snapple apple juice taste more like apples than actual apple juice? Does anybody have that answer?
Again, it felt so raw.
Too raw. Like it should have never went on the internet. No.
Well, it did. And here we are.
I think that the thing with that video is, and this is like, to be clear, my point of view, obviously, like I don't want to speak for him and like what he thinks, but I don't think we did really talk about it. I think that was the first time that we sat down and talked about our breakup.
Yep.
And it was on camera.
Yep. And she's sitting here being like, huh, that's not normal, Kyra. You have a relationship and children with a man that adores you, a home, millions of dollars tied up in it, and millions of dollars that you've made together. You've traveled, you've done a million things, you're engaged to this person. And it doesn't strike you as odd that you talked about this on a camera and then released it while you laughed about it? Like that just makes it worse. You know that, right? Okay, just checking.
Like that's the crazy thing. And I think that you can kind of tell, you can tell some of the things Oscar's like shocked by, but then I had a lot of his resentment at that point in my life for him of like, you're shocked by that? Like,
You're shocked that I cheated on you? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hello? You know,
What?
I think a lot of
Kyra, are you serious right now? What?
girls go through that. And it's not necessarily that puts Oscar in the wrong either, like with not knowing those things. It just, yeah, that was like the first time that we talked about it. We had like
That's crazy.
a conversation once about, do we think that we're going to split up? And then maybe there was like a little bit of conversation in between, but of like, yeah, no, this is like really done. But the first time that we had sat down and had like an in-depth conversation was that conversation.
Well,
That's fascinating.
Which is why you can tell.
when he says that's fascinating, what he means is you're dumb. Dumbass.
Like, I think people see that video and like, I'm sure you were probably even like, geez, Kyra.
Well, I'm outside looking in. Allie and I were just watching it like, wow, this is intense.
Yeah. And like, I was
Can I take some credit here for a second? I know my haters love it when I take credit. I would like to take credit for being the guy that broke this shit wide open. Okay? I'm the one that the person reached out to from Vegas, gave me all the tea, gave me all the information. And again, I'd like to remind people that she has never denied it. So she denies that she cheated, but she doesn't deny the rest of it. And the conversation they have, if you're new to this story, if you want a refresher, don't forget the person that they had a threesome with. They were like all getting drunk and they were asking questions, trying to get comfortable with each other. And she's like, "How long you been together?" And Kyra said like 8 months or 9 months at that point, which put them like months and months before the breakup. So don't forget that. And then I released the picture that she gave me that they sent her of them at the falls, which I then took one when I went to Vegas by outside the Wynn Hotel or whatever it's called. That had never been released. And so Kyra hates my ass, and I don't blame her.
laughing and I was clearly disassociated. Like, I didn't have feelings, but that's because for me, I had already had the feelings. I had already coped with the feelings, and now I was angry. And so, but for him, those were fresh feelings. It's the first time he's having those feelings. And so, you know, it's unfair that all of that was like on camera to both of us. Like,
No, just to him, not to you. You're the one who forced him to do it. So not unfair. Unfair to him, not unfair to you.
what made us think to do that on camera? I don't think at the time we really realized this is our first conversation. But that's the thing. Like, as years have gone on, I've realized we didn't really have a lot of conversations. Things were really great. We were really good friends. Like,
Sounds like you were having conversations, though, with Strange Taint in Vegas. Conversations equals sex. Sex. Conversations. F off.
I can say Oscar and I we got along really well as friends.
Yeah.
So if we weren't like absolutely besties, we were fighting. You know, we were very different people.
Welcome to marriage, lady. Are you serious?
And we didn't really realize that, I don't think. And so we didn't have a lot of those in-depth conversations about our relationship. And one of our biggest ones was on camera, you know? We kind of were just like, let's just make the video. We need to just make the video.
Sounds smart. Sounds normal.
And we turned on the camera and we just started filming. We didn't even really know what we were going to talk about.
We just like, let's just freestyle.
Which that's what I loved about our channel. I can honestly say, like, we didn't fake moments. I mean, there was clips that were
Can we not freestyle having pivotal moments in our family's lives on camera? Like, just let's take a petition to not freestyle that. And so many people do. And it's weird because they get views from it and stuff. But this literally destroyed Kyra. I think the cheating allegations and stuff that happened afterwards and the Preston thing, that all sort of came out after that video, by the way. But that video was the start of it all. So.
Refilmed or things like that. But
procrastination I signed up.
Isn't your fault.
Hold on.
We didn't.
I signed up. I'm going to refresh this. What are we at? 1649.
Together while Oscar and I were together. Like, that was not, there wasn't this secret relationship going on. Like, I've never been that way. I thought that things like that, but we didn't fake things. That's never been a part of any YouTube video
Just
that I've
so
made.
raw.
Yeah. But I wish maybe we would have faked that video a little more, you know, like thought about what we were going to say.
Fake then.
Yeah. And so that made it worse.
So up to this point, though, you were not necessarily controversial, hadn't dealt with any like real like online drama. I mean, you had your podcast Beneath the Sheets where you.
I can't wait for her to talk about this podcast.
started to be like a little bit more out there, maybe a little bit more edgy. But up to this point, had you dealt with anything even close to the scrutiny that came from that video forward?
Absolutely not. I mean, there was like little things here and there that like were, you know, we maybe came off as like offensive about certain things. Like there was
certain things. Remember when she's like, when Miss Sophie, when she did a whole podcast episode on like people who cheat and like how they are like marriage or what do you call them, home wreckers. Meanwhile, she's literally cheating with Preston, wrecking the home of the person she's talking. Remember that one?
Minuscule things for sure.
Yeah.
Compared to the level of this, but no. And that's why I think that it was so shocking as a viewer. Like I can understand the whoa. Like I thought you guys were great. I thought this was all great. And now you guys are breaking up and the breakup video looks like that. Like what has been going on that we're not seeing?
Yeah, and then from that point,
did he say behind the sheets?
It got so complicated. And this is where even in the conversation, it's kind of like, where do we even?
If you know anything, okay, here's a story about Hutterites that I heard. And Hutterites are very similar to like Mennonites and stuff like that, but Hutterites are in Saskatchewan. And I heard this lore of how they do things, because if you ever roll up on a Hutterite village in Saskatchewan, okay, sometimes you will see children and clearly brothers and sisters are mating, if you know what I mean, right? The kids wearing pop bottle glasses and they're like, they got 3 arms and shit. It's weird. Obviously, there's a lot of that going on inside these communities because they don't go outside of their communities to look for people and date and all that kind of stuff. They don't date. And so what they'll do is they'll go in. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but it's behind the sheets. What they'll do is they'll go find somebody in town who's willing to inseminate a daughter. Like they'll find a football player, like a farmer kid that's just got good genetics, and they will pay them to impregnate their daughters, but they will put a sheet beneath them with a hole. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but you're behind the sheet. I'm going to start a podcast called Behind the Sheets.
Begin because, I mean, it was like, Oscar, you guys are still vlogging, by the way, because Oscar was like sleeping in a different room. You guys are navigating that.
Yeah, we were crazy. We thought we were going to live together and still do Okay Baby and like show like.
I like it says we were, because she was telling him on camera, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to live together, be friends. And here's the thing. Oscar was for it. He was all like, yeah, let's do it. It was so funny.
Parenting, living together. Like we were just thinking so positively.
Well, you bring up such a good point. Like you're like, oh, let's keep doing it. You're making a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
So let's just start there. Maybe just talk about like the conversations around like, oh, we're breaking up. Now what? We have all this stuff. You guys had a ton of stuff. You're making good money with your channel. How do you, like, you're not technically married.
Yeah.
So like, how do you even go about that?
I think that we, again, because we had a decent friendship, even though we separated and like it wasn't, that part was rocky, everything else was still great. So I think that's why we felt like we could.
No, you say it was great. It wasn't. Oscar is like kind of a pushover, and he just does what you tell him to do. That's the whole marriage, or your whole relationship. Sorry. That's what it was always like. And don't forget, after that breakup video, she made him go on the other podcast and where they just laughed about shit while he sat there totally heartbroken, like just broken, had to sit next to the dude who was his baby mom was banging. Well, all the while knowing this. And we know it's because they're wearing the same outfit. So she made him do that video and then go downstairs and do the sex podcast. Like the audacity of Kyra's forehead. Okay? Seriously.
Still continue all these other things because we still can be friends. We still can laugh together. We can still make these videos and, a different dynamic for sure. But then also it's like, well, maybe that would be interesting to people that like, we don't want to kill each other. Like, even though we're separated, like maybe we can show this different.
Yeah, I can see that.
Aspect. But then of course there's a reason why most people that doesn't work out for, because it just doesn't work out for, many reasons. Like
yours didn't work out because you cheated.
Once you separate, there's just so many different aspects, that
sure.
You're a lot more forgiving about when you're in a relationship, and it goes both ways. Like I think he probably realized like, wow, she's really annoying. Like I actually don't want to live with you.
Nobody wants to live with you, Kyra. Not even your cats.
It can be little things or big things, of course, but
your tolerance goes out the window for stuff because you're like, we're not actually
And then you're also trying to self-discover, but with your ex in the other room and like...
Yeah, don't self-discover with your ex in the other room. Can we do that? Self-discover. She was dating, like she was with Preston the whole time, and she still to this minute is lying about it. She wasn't self-discovering, okay? She wasn't using the toys for her advertisement. She was with Preston way before they broke up. And they remember that video where they were doing the wheelies, him and Hannah, Oscar and Hannah were doing the wheelie thing, and they were texting back and forth. Like, clearly they were, okay? Because who else is Kyra going to be texting? Like, they were doing this thing, okay? And so you weren't discovering yourself. You were dating him at the time. That's what we know the timeline. Even by her standards, she's lying about the timeline. Even if you don't believe in the cheating allegations, her timeline puts her dating Preston at that moment.
You know, what do I want? Everything when you go through a breakup, no matter what, like kids know kids on the internet, off the internet, it rocks your world for a minute. And it's like you're trying to figure
It's crazy.
You're trying to figure everything out. And so doing that with like other people in your space didn't end up working out the way we wanted to.
But you said something super interesting. You talked about exploring yourself. You like really, it feels like a year before the public breakup, you started to become very sexually, like you talked about it, right? Like even with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When you decided you guys weren't going to be together, was there like a part of you that was like, I'm very ready to explore? I mean, you've been with the same person for a long time.
I think that I've actually always off camera been very open with like being sex positive. Like, I think that it's a topic that people don't talk about that often because.
Yes, people talk about it that often, all the time. Have you been in the world for the last 15 years? Are you kidding me right now? Ever heard of this girl named Bonnie Blue? If you don't look it up. Okay, sex positive. I think we need to be less. There's a fly in here.
It can be inappropriate or uncomfortable or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I think it should be more normalized. So it seems like
sex should be normalized. How do you think we got here? How many people have been on Earth? Billions and billions and billions. You don't think sex is normalized? Are you kidding me right now? I think we should. I hate influencers who say this, like, normalize breastfeeding like it's not normal. It's normal already.
From a viewer's point of view, like, okay, all of a sudden she's talking about this. But if anybody in my real life knew me, that wasn't anything new. It just all of a sudden when I needed a podcast concept.
All of a sudden? Is that what she said?
I knew I wanted to do a podcast. It was like, that should be the topic because it's so different than like my mom family channel.
Yeah.
That it would be a great like alternate thing. Cause I didn't want to have a family channel and then like also do like a podcast that's so similar to that. I wanted to do something very different, something very on my own. So that change wasn't like I wanted to explore sexually different things. I wanted to explore something other than being like a mom on the internet. I wanted to feel independent. I wanted to feel intelligent on my own. I wanted to feel like I had a direction of my own because even though I wanted to start YouTube and I loved doing it all throughout the time that Oscar and I did it together, there's no denying that he was the talent behind the channel. Like he was the editor and he was, the creative mind behind it. And so I lost a lot of my own confidence without even realizing it. And I wanted to have my own creative confidence.
Well, you're not going to get that because you suck. Also, I think, in my opinion, if Oscar was the one doing most of the work and the creative effort, he should have gotten more of the money. I know that they probably split it right down the middle 50-50. She made him sell all the RVs and the bikes and everything else and they split it 50-50. I don't think that's fair. I think that he should have gotten more because he was the main reason they got paid a lot more. I mean, I would have gotten lawyers. Remember at the beginning of this thing, it was hashtag Oscar get a lawyer the whole time.
And so that's why I started Behind the Sheets. And so
it's Behind the Sheets
or beneath.
Even she doesn't even know.
Gosh,
it's in the past. It's something in the sheets.
Behind the sheets.
Something,
Either way,
something's happening in the sheets.
Something with the sheets.
Behind the sheets. Did you bring me my bug zapper? Can you bring me the bug zapper? I have no idea, Mom. Or Little Bear. I have no idea. Sorry, my daughter's awesome.
Yeah. So even though to a viewer it seems sexually driven, it had nothing really to do with that.
Excuse me. The Beneath the Sheets podcast, even though it was sex driven and all we talked about was sex, it wasn't about that. Are you hearing yourself? Did you hear that came out of your donut hole? Did you mean to say that? It wasn't about that. Well, what was it about then? Because we're all confused now.
You know?
And the issue with it is like, and I want to know if you regret doing that podcast, because that podcast ended up fueling a lot of hate.
Right.
For a million different reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Do you regret doing that? Because I want to set the stage for the listeners, because Preston, like you had an episode with Preston.
Yeah.
I got to say to Isaac, he's being nice. He's a good interviewer. He's too nice. But I get it. As an interviewer, you got to kind of get on, and you got to make sure that you're keeping him on the hook. Thanks. I love you. Let's do this. If this fly comes anywhere near me, it's over. Where was I? Okay.
So again, like people were nitpicking that, right?
Yeah.
And it just gave people fuel. Like, do you regret doing that and everything around it?
No.
Really?
I really enjoyed doing the podcast. I have a lot of great memories from it. I mentally was able to discover a lot about myself.
And discover your Preston a little bit there. Hey,
Again, not just sexually. Like, actually, I didn't try anything sexually new while doing that podcast.
Don't lie, because you and Preston were out there doing Vegas things. So you're lying.
But again, I like people, take that podcast and are like, maybe that's why she ended up with Preston, or like that. Even I think at one point, Oscar was like, I feel like there was like a turning point once the podcast started, and
there was no turning point. The turning point was you suck ass. And we just had more things to make fun of you about.
People are right. There was. I suddenly realized I am my own person. I'm not just like, okay, baby. And like, I actually.
Why are people like this? Why are the dogs wrestling above me right now? They're wrestling. Why are people like, I'm just not this one thing that makes me millions. I'm bored now and I want something that's just me. It's me now. It's me. Shut up.
I have passions of my own. And I did discover myself, a little bit. And that was the start of that. And so I don't regret it, because I think it gave me a lot of the confidence in myself.
Can you see
which
that?
I had none. And I didn't even realize it. Like, that's what's hard about, in the beginning you asked things that I regret. All I can think about when I think about the beginning of YouTube is I was so sad and I was so lonely. And it just was like such a horrible time in my life that I don't think I'll ever recover from, like, I mean, I will, but it was really hard for me.
Making millions of dollars and filming bullshit was really hard for me, everybody. I got a tear. Here, hold on. I got it. I'll get it. I think it's good. Come on. Bonnie holding tears. Come on, get it. There it is. Shut up.
So, sorry.
No, you're good.
Is she crying? You shut up right now, Kyra.
I didn't know, though. And I think that's what's crazy is like, that was me. But now looking back, I didn't even realize at all. Like, you were so unhappy, But that's why I wanted it so bad, and why I wanted not the success of YouTube. I wanted YouTube because I wanted to connect with people, because I was so.
I hate influencers who say this too. Like, we're putting stuff out to bring joy into the world. Like, we're here to bring joy and show you things, and I like you. You like the money. Shut up. Oh, I hate influencers.
So lonely and sad. And it felt like, this is going to give me friends. If 5 people watch, that's like 5 people that I can like meet, And I think a lot of new moms especially like go through that. And that was the phase of life I was in when I started.
Wow. You were like 18 years old going through postpartum. Like, you're dealing with emotions that like are so hard to explain. And you're so young. Like, you're not even the final version of yourself, because you're getting older and you're dealing with postpartum and you're showing everything on the internet. I can't imagine looking back at that person. It's like you're saying, it's like, that's not me.
Yeah, it felt out of body for sure. And so now when I watch those videos, it's sad, because I know where I think I was at that time. But now looking back, I can see, and I know obviously where
This is a good point right here from B. Hick. She seems unhappy now, and that's because she is. Kyra's the type of person who makes a really, really brash decision based on the old, whatever you call it, the old ideal that the grass is greener on the other side. Kyra's never happy. She's always making changes. She gets, you know, how can you not be happy making millions of dollars and just living the life of that most people can only dream of? It wasn't good enough. And so she didn't like, I guess she was sick of just sleeping with the same guy and then found another guy, or liked the idea of stealing someone else's person and being desired by someone that you couldn't have. You know what I mean? All that kind of came down but I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear the pity me bullshit. Okay. You didn't have to do any of this stuff. So spare us all. Please.
He was, and it's out of body.
When you look back at that and you have that feeling, was there like a particular moment or even a video where you go, that's, wow, I see the look in that person's eyes and I go, oh, that's where I was like lost?
The breakup video.
Really?
Yeah.
When's the last time you watched
A little late then, though.
it?
Oh, I don't know. When I deleted it.
Like-
So like, I think I put it on private maybe a year ago. Well, watched it. I don't know that I've ever actually sat through the whole thing.
You haven't watched your own video? You stupid dumbass.
But, watched parts of it.
Yeah.
Although I don't watch my videos either. Sometimes I do, though. Sometimes I'll watch one and I'm like, hey, this is pretty funny. Sometimes.
Probably like a year.
Crazy.
Because it's horrible. It's a horrible version
is.
of myself.
No,
And
that's
so,
the true version of yourself.
one, I'm embarrassed by it. But also, I see how angry I was. I was so angry, but I look so happy.
Who are you angry at? Oscar adored you to the very end. Who are you angry at? That's what we're trying to understand. Like, she's like, oh, Oscar did me wrong. No, he didn't. You were abusive to him in every way. There's so much proof. There's so much evidence. There's so many timestamps of you hitting him, pushing him, berating him. I'm sure he wasn't perfect, because nobody's perfect. But damn, what were you mad at, Kyra? You had it all. Everything that most people can only dream of. What were you mad about? Strange taint?
I have this and I think at that time I kind of felt like, okay, I'm happy. Like, it's just the emotion thing. I thought I felt a certain way, but now looking back, I look back and I know you were so angry and you didn't even realize it.
Angry at
everything. Like, I was just angry that I had made choices that I had made. I was angry that I was making the person next to me sad, but also just like a lot of women experience in relationships, how are you sad? I've been sad for years. And so I was angry at him. But then also I felt so bad that I was the one leaving, there's just so many emotions, and I'm not an angry person. And so
that's a lie straight from the pits of hell. She's very angry person. Okay. Look how she treated Oscar. Remember that video where he tried to surprise her when she got home from whatever? And he's like, hey, welcome home. I love you. And she's like, where's my cat? Or whatever. And she just pushed him aside after not seeing him for a few days and went to her cat. She was a biatch. I don't know how else to say that. Capital B with an itch.
That's another reason why I think I look back and I didn't realize it was anger, because I've never experienced a lot of anger. I'm more of an emotional person. Yeah, okay. And so I didn't even know what that felt like. And now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, that's about what that feels like. Angry. Yeah.
So we post the video and we talked about the podcast that you started. We have to get into the speculations that you and Preston were already together. I mean,
here we go.
It's gotten to the point now where people assume they were for sure together.
Oh, they've decided. They don't just assume it is. They have made up crazy storylines that they're set on.
That's not a storyline. That's what happened. And it's been corroborated by more than just the person from Vegas. But didn't Hannah write in her roast song about you, where she roasted you that you cheated? And I have other insider information too from other people, which I know. So spare us all. She's lying. She's going to straight up lie right now. Listen.
Well, I have to see both sides though, because I can understand from the audience perspective how it would feel like that. It makes a lot of sense on paper. You had the podcast, Preston was on, breakup video immediately with Preston.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pause and let you talk about it, because
see, he's being nice, but I've been listen, tell me about the lady with the boobs in Vegas. Tell me about that lady.
Most people are wondering what the timeline was.
Well, here's the thing. Even the reality is messed up. the reality is I am married to him, and he was.
What kind of answer is that? What kind of answer? No, we're not asking about what's going on right now. We want to know what happened. He's like, give us the timeline. Give us the truth. Here's your chance to tell us the truth. And she's avoiding it.
Somebody who was my employee at one point, and then she was my best friend, and that was her partner. So no matter what, that is not okay. And trust me, if I could not have him be my husband, like I would have not.
She's done this. She said this so many times. You can't help who you fall in love with. Well, you can help if it's someone else's husband. I mean, you can. Just don't, I guess. She said this, and she's probably going to say something stupid like, if you only could know the real story.
Right.
Why would I have chosen that for myself, you know? But I think that people take that, even though it's already dramatic enough, in my opinion, and really want to spice it up. And that's where like it just gets so out of control, and there's so many different narratives. And I actually have clarified it quite a few times.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. All you've said is, if you could know the whole truth, then I would be vindicated. Or, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but because she doesn't know what vindicated means. But you know what I mean? No, you have not. You've said a bunch of stuff, but you've never, ever offered proof. No, never once. Never once.
People are like, why don't you just like say what happened? I'm like, no, but I have. It's just, it's not what you want it to be. So it's not the truth. Okay. But it is the truth. It's just not as interesting as what you want.
It's not the truth. She's lying. She's straight up lying to you guys right now. So then, if I was doing this interview, and Isaac maybe doesn't know all the lore, so, and I get it, he's, again, trying to keep her on the hook. He doesn't want to alienate her, and I understand this style of interviewing. You have to. Okay, you have to. The question would be like, okay, well, here's, when DCP dropped the thing with the threesome person that you met off Bumble, why did she say what she said? That you guys, when she was asking you guys and you're getting comfortable with each other, you guys said that you were dating for 8 months and that you were the other person. Explain how that all went down. And no one has ever asked her that. She's never, ever clarified that ever.
But let's double down here, because I want to know, like, when was the first time that you looked at Preston in this spectrum, this timeline, and said, I'm into that guy?
Ooh, good question.
It's funny. We've talked about this with each other. Like, when did you like really know? Here's the thing. And this took me until, I want to say, about a year ago to realize Preston and I never were together while Oscar and I were together. Like, that was not, there wasn't this secret relationship going on. Like, I've never been that way. I thought that I wanted to be with Oscar forever, and I wanted that with my whole being, you know? And I think so did he. I think we both secretly in our own minds knew that wasn't going to work, but that's what we wanted. And so that was never a thing of Preston and I being like in the background. But I think now looking back, you know, we had a lot of
forehead on fire,
like game nights weekly with, as like a, what do you call that?
Like couples
night.
Condoms.
Yeah.
Oh, couples
and
night. That's right.
Him and I always did get along really well. He was socially awkward, so it took a while. But yeah, like I think we had a connection that I didn't notice at the time. It's not like when he walked in the room, I was like, oh my God, he's so hot. In fact, I never found him unattractive, but Preston, if like people know the people I've dated, he's not typically who I go for.
We know you've dated Oscar out of high school, who was dating your best friend, by the way, if you didn't know that. And then it was just Oscar. So what kind of like, if you know me, he wasn't my type. We don't know. You had one dude. So we don't know that.
So it's not like the first.
And clearly he was your type. You're damn married to him right now. Sorry, I'm yelling.
First time I saw him, I fainted and was like, I gotta have him. Although that sounds fun. That's just not the way it went. Yeah. And so there wasn't like a specific moment, but I do think that throughout those game nights, I did notice like, we do laugh together. We do have fun together. And so I can admit, I think that there was a little bit of an emotional connection earlier on than I would like to admit. It wasn't like a year before or months before, but I think especially towards the end when things were like really bad between Oscar and I, there was more of an emotional connection happening than I wanted to admit.
It's too many words to say she's a liar.
You know?
Yeah. And I want to be specific with the next question because and I don't want to keep referencing this breakup video, but it fits in this combo.
It's a good video to reference.
Unfortunately, you might have to pause the show and like put in like the highlight tape. But you said, "Oh, there was no cheating." Oscar goes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that thing with the cheating was one.
So he's not talking about Preston. That is a situation that is, it's not funny because it did hurt his feelings.
Sure.
And I feel bad that it hurt his feelings. I still don't think it was wrong, but there was a situation
If he thought it was wrong, it was probably wrong.
where a male was intoxicated and he had just recently had a breakup and he was crying and he was leaning on my shoulder and I was like, it's okay. Like, you know, and I was comforting him, and both Oscar and I were intoxicated and he was there. And I think he saw it and was like, what's going on?
She's absolutely underplaying this because she's making it sound like some guy who's like, I broke up. And she's like, they're there. You think no, that's not what Oscar's mad about. She's completely underplaying what happened. That's, again, she just lies. She's a liar. She's a liar.
Here, like, you know, you're being, I don't know if he thought I was being flirtatious. Again, I don't want to speak for him. We haven't ever really, again, even that situation, sat down and talked about it. That was a time he brought it up to me and I was like, that's not cheating. Like, this guy, I was comforting.
Again, if Oscar feels like you were.
In a living room with 20 other people.
We're watching it in real time.
Oh yeah, that's the thing with that video. You know, it was, yeah. So that's what he's referencing. I actually was the one to call Oscar and tell him, hey, I'm sleeping with Preston. And that was like maybe 3 months after Oscar and I had separated. So I was the one to tell Oscar. There was never like he found out about Preston and I and then, you know, went back this far and all that stuff.
Okay. So you call Oscar 3 months after you guys break up. You say, hey, I'm sleeping with Preston.
Because that's the friendship. That's the thing. Like, Oscar and I had such a good
I'm sorry, that was so funny. We're such good friends post-divorce that I like called him, and that's just what we did. Hey, Presticles, what's going on? Hi, sleeping with our friend's husband. Friendship. You gotta be kidding me right now. Kyra, you absolute donut. Oh, it's good. It's good to laugh. It's good to laugh.
friendship. We overshared. Like, even, I mean, he didn't need to know I was sleeping with Preston at that point. We're not together. He could have been sleeping with people. He might have been. He was definitely dating because I was giving him dating advice.
Giving him dating advice. Here's what you do, okay? Head to the Win. Find yourself somebody to fart on. Dating advice over.
I didn't need to call him and tell him who I was in bed with because Preston and I weren't together. So I didn't have this obligation of like, hey, I'm putting this person around our kids.
So
that would
funny.
be the time, right?
She's
that like
so
you
funny.
would want, or you would need to share with your co-parent. But like, that wasn't the situation. Preston and I were strictly having intercourse when he came over.
This is such a natural look at Isaac. I don't know if you can see that. His face when she says, we were just having intercourse. And he's like, please stop. Please stop. Oh, this is a good one.
And I felt the need to share that because we were friends and overshared everything. I do cringe a lot about some of that stuff.
Sure that, you know what? Here's what I'm hearing. Sounds like you were telling him a bunch of stuff because you felt guilty about what you were doing. And remember during the video of the breakup, she's like, I want you to sleep with other girls. Have you been chatting and texting other girls? Like, no. And she's like, she wanted him to do that because she felt guilty for what she was doing. Like, she's such a bad liar. And we could see through the lies. Everybody could see through that. And that's another reason everybody hates you, Kyra, because you just lied about everything. And you never came clean on it.
But that decision to sleep with Preston imploded your life, though, from the sense of like your friendships, the way people perceive you, the names people will call you.
It became my identity.
Yep.
Just
I
talk
slept
about
with
that.
somebody once and it became at that
Once? With other people, I guess.
time because I didn't know he was going to end up being my husband. But yeah, who I chose to sleep with one time became my entire identity.
That's no. Your identity became being a homewrecker, not just who you slept with, but that's part of it. But your identity became you broke girl code. You're a homewrecker. You're cheating. Now you're sniffing farts in Vegas. Your identity was a bunch of weird stuff because you're a weirdo.
And you made a decision. And love is love, right?
Tyson, I hope you're editing my video right now.
No judgment here from that perspective, but you definitely made a decision to make your life super complicated, even to have to explain that to people, like where he fit in your ecosystem. Just talk a little bit about the challenges and like why you decided that that relationship was that important.
Yeah, I think at that point in my life, I had 4 kids. I had just decided to leave a relationship where I did really care about that person and thought that that person was my forever. But then, having the realization that like, actually, do we like each other like that?
So sorry. I thought this was my forever person, but I don't like you like that. I just like you as a friend. And because we're friends, I'm going to tell you who I'm sleeping with. It's our best friend's husband. Friends! If that's friendship, I don't want any of that.
And so there's that whole side of it. And then also I hated myself. I had no self-confidence, but I had thought I was a very confident person. So just, I'm at like what I thought, to be clear, was rock bottom. Like I just wanted attention, honestly, and I think that's not attention.
That's the most honest thing she said in this entire interview.
But I think I wanted to feel loved and accepted. So in a sense, attention.
You wanted to feel loved and accepted, so you cheated and you went with your nanny's husband? Hey guys, here's Kyra's How to Be Accepted 101. Sleep with your best friend's husband. Acceptance comes next.
And nobody understood, like even people in our personal life, like, but you guys get along. You have kids. What do you mean you're breaking up? And it's like, well, actually, sometimes you need more than that. I wanted more than that. I don't think there's anything wrong with.
What's more than that? Like what you want? You had millions of dollars. You had a beautiful home. You had every toy in the book. You had a husband who adored you. You would never want for anything. You took many vacations. It's again, I can understand that if you're in an abusive relationship, you want to get out. I understand that, right? But Kyra left for another woman's husband. There's no other way to put it. She's like, I just wanted more. More what? I'm sure if you even asked Oscar to have an open marriage, he probably would have been okay with it.
That. Yes, we were cordial. It's not like we were like fighting every single day. We were fighting a lot, but liar. I wanted more than that, and I think that that's okay. But nobody around me felt that way. So I also had everybody just like making me feel like I was in the wrong.
You were.
And then Preston had recently, I think like 2 months before, separated from his ex. And because he was
also known as Hannah. But good, keep her name out your damn mouth. Your dirty damn fart mouth.
The one to choose to leave.
Hannah, if you're watching, what's up?
He
hope you enjoyed that candy I sent you.
Was the only one, and we were around each other because he helped me move because he had a truck. And Oscar was in Florida, I believe, when I was like moving out. And so he was helping me. Plus, he was my friend and he lived near. So like
he's helping you move out, was he? Mm-hmm. Helping you move some other things too.
He'd come over and like
your underpants,
build the kids' beds or whatever.
Yeah.
And naturally, when that happens, 2 single people that are like severely depressed and everybody hates them, we ended up sleeping together.
By accident, we tripped over some moving boxes and he fell into me, It happens all the time. Stop judging us.
I don't want to say it wasn't a good choice because I love him and I'm glad that I did it now. But at the time, should I have done that? Probably not, But then look, I did something that I shouldn't have done. And now it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Is it? Okay.
So it's so difficult to like.
She's such a liar.
That's the thing. We both know it's wrong. That's not how this should be.
No. Why are you sitting here saying it's wrong if you're saying it's no, what she's trying to say is like, we didn't cheat, we didn't do any of that stuff, but it's wrong. So what's wrong about it, Kyra? You were not with, if you're going by Kyra's timeline, if you're going by her thing, Preston had left Hannah, you had left Oscar, you guys got together. What's wrong about it? So she's projecting something. She knows what she's saying. She says it's wrong, but what could be wrong about it unless, the other things were true?
But how do you, it's so hard to find somebody in your life. And I think you only get about one opportunity truly where you find somebody that you can be any version of yourself, and they're gonna.
Are you saying you couldn't be any version of yourself around Oscar because you were your abusive self all the time and he seemed to put up with it?
Love you unconditionally. You're gonna laugh together, but you're not just gonna laugh together. You're also gonna like sexually have, you know, things that are in common and like all those things.
Like farts. She'll never get around. You're never gonna beat that allegation. Because she never denied that either, that she was into fart sniffing. Look, guys, I know I'm a vanilla guy. When people talk about sex, I blush and stuff like that. But, like, farts? That is literal poo air. Poo air that you're sniffing. You're like, this is sexually turning me on. There's something wrong with you. There's something off. And you should get your head checked, okay? That's literal poo particles that you think is fun. I just... No, man. No.
So although it's so bad, it's ended up being so good. So it's so difficult. But neither of us are like sitting here like, oh, who cares? And we're proud of it. Like, no, it sucks. We still have to pay the consequences. When we go certain places, they're like, how'd you meet? And even if they know nothing about it, we have to be like, how do we tell people we meet?
Just tell them. Like, so she's confused at how she has to tell people how they meet. Because she knows it's wrong. We met because my nanny, who's also my podcast co-host, this is her husband. That's how we met. Jeez. Wow.
You know, and then like our kids, you know, we, with our youngest, well, I guess ours.
This is true. Like, I know a lot of people say this, and we can't overlook this. Tornado Grammy says she will lose him just like she got him. Mark my words. He's gonna cheat. Like, if he could do that to Hannah, he's gonna do it to Kyra too. Vice versa, and she might do it to him. Again, it just doesn't. Cheaters are gonna cheat, like Allison Green here says. It's just what's gonna happen.
The only kid that's from both of us. Do we tell her when she grows up? Like, how do you go about that? And it's like, yeah, my other kids I'm very transparent with. They know. Like, people need to know, our kids need to know that sometimes things don't happen the way that you want or that you think, but they still happen, you know?
They don't have to happen, though. It's about choices.
You know? And it ends up all working out. And some of those things, I'm still waiting for some of those things to work out. But like, you know. So neither of us think it's great that it happened the way it did, but both of us are happy it happened.
Are you both of you?
You guys both got divorced, broke up at the exact same time.
That's... He's like, do you... you know in his brain, he's like... So, coincidence? I don't think so.
And you're saying everybody should believe and trust that was 100% by chance.
Yeah.
And the universe just...
Especially two people that were in a relationship for many, many years. And like...
She's not picking up what he's putting down, right? He's like, so you want us to believe that the two people who are married right now, who had cheating allegations, both broke up with their spouses and significant other at the same time and then got together, and you want us to believe that? She's like, yeah. Like, yeah. He's like, she's not getting what he's putting down. He's like, you're a dumbass. You're dumb.
How do you both, within the same like 2 months, separate from your partners? That's the thing too. Like, I never tried to over clarify it because I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. I see the way it looks, you know, that doesn't look so good. And if I were a viewer, this would be a great story because it's crazy.
Like,
it is crazy.
But I think that what people maybe don't realize is sometimes it does happen in friend groups where, so I left Oscar, and then without like going into detail about Preston and his ex's relationship, because that's their business.
Totally.
I think at that time he was like, I'm not very happy.
So maybe what she's putting down here is basically blaming Preston. So what she's claiming is that she breaks up with Oscar, right? And she's going to do her thing. And then Preston sees a chance to be like, what was, like, let's be real. What she's probably saying is that, you know, we were talking about it, and then Preston's like, well, you're broken up with Oscar. Now it's my chance. I'm going to break up with Hannah, and let's get together. That's what she's kind of putting down. But that's not what happened, everybody. Don't let her, that's letting her off easy, because that's not what happened.
But how do you do it? Because
did you guys talk about that? Did he ever say how'd you do that?
Yeah, and he had it pretty good, and so I think he felt really guilty leaving. Like I should be happy, you know? And I never told.
But Hannah doesn't like fart sniffing. And how can you be with somebody forever if they don't like poo or flakes in the air, right? Like we just weren't compatible. Farts matter. They matter.
Him to leave, to be clear, that it wasn't discussed like that.
It is interesting though, because it seems like you guys had enough of a relationship where he was willing to confide in you and say, hey, you did this. Now I'm kind of.
Well, that's a take. Sarah, the domestic goddess, is she's onto something. The devil smells like farts, and I believe it.
Kind of feeling this way. I'm going to go talk to Kyra.
So yes and no. We didn't ever actually, even though we were all friends, there wasn't a friendship that was separate between him and I.
Okay.
We didn't text like.
Yeah.
Liar. Again, remember that video. They were texting back and forth. She's lying right now.
Separately, you know, it was like I texted her for plans or whatever, and then we texted as like a group occasionally. Sure. But there was no like Preston and I having text conversations. And so
if I were Isaac right now, I would ask her then, okay, well, there's this infamous video about you and Preston and Hannah and Oscar in a video where Oscar and Hannah are Chinese wheelies and what looks like you and Preston texting back and forth. Can you clarify who you were messaging? That's what I would ask.
We did get close. That was already after both of us had separated from our relationships because we bonded, I guess. Kind of feels
bonding.
like, yeah.
Trauma bonding.
Over.
Makes sense to trauma bond and then marry the person. That sounds normal.
The fact that, which sounds so ridiculous and like self-pity, but like over being the bad guys. Like, okay, you get it. Like, especially, yeah. I mean, in his situation was a lot different than mine.
Did she say that? Wait, 5 minutes ago she said Preston and Hannah broke up first. I must have missed that. Is that true?
But either way, we both left people that we were with, and we found a lot of comfort in each other.
In your panties.
In that way. So when he came to me, they had already been broken up, but he did come to me after that about like, do we live together after? And I was like, no, I tried that. I wouldn't recommend it, you know, but I never recommended him to leave her.
Yeah, he's not like, Kyra, should we break up? And you're like, yeah, please. By the way.
And there was even actually a point where she came over to my house and he was there and we were already sleeping together. And
did she know?
Yeah, I had many conversations with her about sleeping with him.
That sounds like a conversation I'd like to have with somebody. Just so you're aware, friendship frenzies. Bestie, I'm sleeping with your husband. You okay with it? Okay, cool.
What do those conversations look like? Where it's like, hey, I'm sleeping with your ex-husband.
Weird. Like very uncomfortable. But at the time, also, I was disassociating, so I was like very direct, very straightforward, said all the facts.
Sound like you were being a big bitch about it.
But I also think that it was a little bit heartless because I was disassociated. It was just like...
Stop.
You're also in this emotional and like sexual high because you're with the new partner. So you're kind of like, I don't care.
No, because I loved her. Like I really, that's what was all.
No, you didn't. Don't get to say you loved her after stealing her husband. Sorry. Nope.
Also really difficult. Like we weren't having a good time in our friendship when him and I started. Like we had a lot of our own issues at that point. Again, because everything was going so bad in my life, I'm like self-sabotaging and we weren't getting along for other reasons. And so, yeah, our friendship wasn't really looking great at that time anyways. But then, yep.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
We did have those conversations. It never was like, it's not like I was ever like, I'm sleeping with him, get over it. That was never, ever the conversation. It was always like,
it doesn't have to be the conversation. The conversation probably never had to happen. If it happened like you said it did, you just didn't have to say anything. You knew the friendship was going to be over when you started sleeping with your ex-husband. If that's the case in your timeline, it isn't, but it is. Let's just say it was for argument's sake. You don't have a conversation. It's over, and you know it will be. You know she's not going to be cool with it. So you're gross.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, you know, but the truth, I remember I did tell her at one point, like, I would not risk everything if I didn't think that this would turn into something, you know? Right. And we both did agree at one point, like, hopefully someday in the future we can be friends again. But obviously this is like too fresh to be friends like this now.
Okay, I think you're right. So she said yes. Hannah and Preston broke up 2 months before her and Oscar. Then she said her and Preston were talking about how Kyra broke up with Oh, she lied. Someone got her in a lie.
But I think she was one of the few friends ever in my life that is like that one of a kind friend. And
Not anymore.
I will forever like mourn that friendship. Like that's what's
Well, you're an idiot.
so difficult about this too is I lost like who I thought I was going to spend my life with. I lost my absolute other person of a friend, but I'm also falling in love at the same time. And this is like all unrelated to each other, but related to each other and happening at the same time. And like now also don't forget I have 4 kids. So like put a smile on and like be present and be good
mom.
and work, because now you live on your own. You need to like make sure you can pay your rent and all that by yourself. So just all the things. And I think I went psychotic, like literally probably should have been put on a lot more medications than I was on.
Yeah.
I
Jokes.
just like
You're
lost
where's
it.
my Wellbutrin at?
Yeah.
All the while, this guy who a lot of people don't like called Dad Challenge Podcast.
Hey! Does this thing do that? Ready? Yeah! Do the thing. Congrats! Why isn't this doing it? Yay! Why doesn't it do the thing anymore? That's not fun. It's supposed to do like if I keep my thumbs up, it's supposed to do a pop up. Maybe I disabled it. Anyway. Shout out to me.
Are following your every move. He was covering your breakup. He did
I'm the one.
the whole video on your breakup video, and then drops a bomb.
Yeah.
And this picture of you in Vegas, all these things. You can explain the timeline, but I'm just gonna like leave it open because that was super intense, and I'm sure that was like what feels like the beginning of a lot of complicated things for you.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, my first initial thought was,
Shit.
you know, my family and Preston's family has to like see our sex life.
That's your first thought about when this broke? Is that they have to hear that you do threesomes in Vegas? Like, you did a sex podcast where you left nothing untouched. And I mean nothing untouched. Okay? Ew. So, Spare Me and Preston was on that podcast with his wife, who was their daughter-in-law. And you're worried about people finding out you do threesomes in Vegas when you talked about it? Like, at nauseum about your labia and shit? Like, all the time? Are you serious? That's what you're upset about? Okay, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Online, you know, and like I thought about my dad, and me and my dad don't have a relationship where we like discuss things like that. Not to be judgmental, but maybe weird if you do even. So like
sure,
I'm
that would
thinking
be
of
weird.
that, of course, and then like Preston's family, I'm new to being in
This
their
is good tea.
life, and now I'm bringing a lot of publicity to their life, and in this way, and so
And I'm sure they're super proud of old Presty bags.
For-
Pea stain.
first thought, like, oh my God, our families. And then second thought was like, you know, oh, all the other things that followed.
Second thought was other things. Kyra. Oh, she's funny. You're funny, Kyra. So I like this inside scoop about how she felt when it all dropped. And she's like, well, Preston's family. This is the life he chose. Like, Preston doesn't get off easy. I know that she's the homewrecker, but Preston had to make the choice too. He's a homewrecker too. So they're both homewreckers. It's like, it sounds like they made a mutual decision to cheat way before that her and Preston broke up, way before Hannah and Preston broke up. Or what do you know what I'm saying? So they're both equally to blame here.
Which can I just say, that was very different because years before on social media, I didn't care about how it affected my personal life. And even though it sucked and I hated it, I was kind of glad to be like, I'm glad my first thought was I worried about my family.
Shut the hell up. You damned liar. So let me get this straight. So you didn't care about your whole sex podcast and what it would do about your family and all that kind of stuff. But when your cheating stuff came forward, that's when you're upset. Okay. Like, okay.
Because
What a
years prior,
liar.
I wouldn't have worried about that. And I'm excluding my kids, of course. That's always been something that I've considered first. But like, other than that, you know, I've never, in the beginning days of YouTube, I didn't consider anybody in my real personal life. And I hated that. And I didn't even realize it. So then going back to the dad challenge stuff, yeah, it was like embarrassing for sure. But also that didn't feel like the point where everything was exposed for me. So that part I didn't really care about because in my personal life, people had already known about Preston. And that's what I had at that point was my personal life. The internet already hated me because I chose to leave a relationship that
The internet didn't hate you at the time you left Oscar. If you guys remember the timeline, that's not what people were upset with. They weren't really mad at you for leaving Oscar. When you when shit really hit the fan is when we discovered what happened afterwards. You had there was a lot of people, hands up if you followed this sort of from the beginning and you were kind of like on Kyra's side at the beginning because, you know, girl power and all that kind of stuff and stick to your girlies, right? And there's nothing wrong with that for taking her side because she presented it as something and people were releasing that video of her and Oscar arguing in a parking lot. People were throwing Oscar under the bus and then it all came out. So there were a lot of people on Kyra's side at the beginning. So that's not true. Everybody's in here. I was not on her side. I hated her. Okay, well, at least you're honest.
I felt was perfect. So he didn't really do anything there. It just was kind of embarrassing.
So you feel like
she's
the
diminishing
moment
what I did, which is fine. I get it.
where things got super complicated in your life was the breakup video.
Yeah, because I felt, even though now, like I said, looking back, I realized how angry I was at the moment. I felt like I was finally able to like start over, you know, and like actually, I don't know, figure out life, I guess, on my own with like my own confidence and all that. And the world came crashing down and it was like, actually, you're a piece of shit. And then I'm like, wait, am I a piece of shit? Like, what did I do? You know,
What do you mean,
I
what
know
did
I
you-
left a
Really?
relationship, but holy cow, like really all this, like if people really knew.
Yeah, you're like people break up.
See, she did it again. You came on this podcast to let people know. She keeps saying, if people really knew, here's your opportunity to tell us all.
All the time.
Yeah, and like it's nothing against Oscar for both ways. We both treated each other very poorly and should have never been together. If people
So then have 4 kids with them? That sounds normal.
knew the real relationship, anybody would have left.
Sure.
I hope you're lying. We saw Oscar adored you. What are you saying right now? People knew that he was he really? And maybe again, I'm not saying he was perfect because there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. But from what we saw, dang, if anything, she was the abusive one. She did all that cry. Like, if people only so then tell them, tell everybody.
I mean, there was not like drastic things that were happening behind the scenes, but still, like nobody in our lives even looked at our relationship and was like, that's a relationship.
Correct.
Like people all knew, like, you guys get along really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Preston obviously were like exploring sexually, which I think, like as you described, is empowering. Like people can do what they want beneath the sheets. But
Behind the sheets.
both the presentation of like, hey, here's this photo, there's all this news, and just like hearing, oh, like threesome, that's kind of like some people are like with that, some people are not.
Yeah.
That's like a complicated thing.
That's already, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, how did you guys deal with that? Like very personal. That's like very intense information to just be now everybody knows we had a threesome.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it was embarrassing, but also I didn't really care about that. Like,
Yes, she did.
who are you to tell me what I can and can't explore? Like,
Nobody was telling you can't. We were just saying you were lying. We weren't, like, if you watch my video about breaking down the threesome thing, we weren't mad about the threesome. You're consenting adults. Do what you got to do. Go for it. I'm all for it. If you're a consenting adult, go do what you got to do. Totally. Absolutely. Have fun. Be safe, but have fun. The video was about what the threesome person told us about the cheating allegations, about the 8 months before. But she's pivoting from that. We weren't super mad about the threesomes. We know that you're a freak. We know that you have a sex drawer full of toys that your kids can get into. We know that you are like farts and weird stuff. Like, okay, whatever. But that wasn't the whole point. No one really cared about that. What happened?
bothered me. It just was awkward to have it like aired
sure.
without you knowing. But one thing that was frustrating is I didn't care that it was out there. It was really weird to like, you know, we met this girl in Vegas and it was kind of our newer experiences with having threesomes at this time because she wasn't the only one we had done that with. And she was super nice and we got along great. And then this happened and it was like, whoa, that's weird. You knew who I was the whole time.
Oh.
And you didn't say anything. And then you acted like everything was so fine and dandy, and then you went and like
Exposed us.
yeah. So it's just like felt like intrusive. Like I don't know the word, but like yeah, it just made me feel uneasy.
Well,
like
you were
that's weird.
That's what you get for being on the internet.
vulnerable with somebody who knew more about you.
Yeah, and like
than-
now you've seen
It's deceitful.
me naked, and I like yeah, it's so
And we have seen Kyra's lollipop nipples. I think that's what they're called when you get that type of breast implant where they cut it down and there's like a stick that leads up to your nipple. We've literally seen Kyra's boobs because she like she whoopsied it on YouTube by accident, and then now it's on the internet forever.
so weird. It just felt like really weird. But then the extra mile of it is then she lied about so much on top of it. Like the base is definitely true. I've never denied that. But there is a lot of things she added to this story, but it's hard because then you're like, well, it's true, but it's not really, you know?
What? So she's saying it's true, but not really. So why would she lie about those weird other things? Like, why would she just put those in there? It doesn't make any sense. Like, she's like, you guys were trying to get to know each other. You were drinking a little bit. She asked you questions, and then you answered those questions. And don't forget that this person had no idea who these people were until she left and kind of was like, they remind me of something. She didn't go into the threesome knowing who you were. She didn't know you were okay, baby. She didn't know Preston. She went in just willy-nilly going into this adventure, sexual adventure, and not knowing. And so there was no reason for her to lie. Those are questions you ask people when you're trying to get comfortable with them. Hey, how long you guys been together? Blah, blah. Like, you don't think that question came up? Why would she lie about that? It doesn't, no, she just, Kyra, you're lying, man.
Oh, and then that's where I feel like just never mind, like whatever. But it was frustrating. Like a lot of the things that she said were like quite literally the opposite.
Like what?
Like one of the examples is she said, I think somebody was throwing up or something like that. When actually I went to the bathroom, Preston got uncomfortable
I don't remember that.
or something. And he like faked going to the bathroom. But then I noticed he was taking a while. So I went in there and was like, are you okay? You know? And he was like, I just like, no, can we? And I was like, okay, I got this. Like, I'll figure this out. And I had drinks in me. So the confidence was like, no problem. Like, this is going to be easy.
What? What did she just say?
And I went out there and she threw up. And so, and I felt
That has nothing to do with any of this.
like we were all drinking. So it's like not a bad thing that she threw up. Who gives a shit? I've thrown up from drinking. It happens.
Same.
But for her to then go on the internet and say, I think that like, I don't even remember now, but one of us threw up and it.
I don't remember that. And I did the video. What? Who cares who threw up? What? Why are you talking about this? No, I address the allegations of cheating. That's what not who threw. Who gives a shit?
Or something like that. I'm like,
yeah,
odd thing to lie about, but okay.
I don't remember that. Do you guys remember that? I need to go back over my video and we need to do like me talking about my video.
And that's a small example. There's a lot of other things, but just that sucks because base story, accurate. More than that, not really. And that's what sucks. There's been a lot of people in my personal life that have said things and then that thing is true, but everything else is not. But I also know as a viewer, how do I explain that? You know, like I don't know how to, nothing I say matters because it's not fun. That story's more fun.
Yeah. People like they hear what they want to.
Yeah.
No, my person only spoke to me. She never told anybody except for a friend. I think she might have told her friend, and her friend, I don't know if I can remember the story, but if you go back to my video, I'm sure it's told. Something about how maybe her friend recognized them, and then she was like, what? That's them? And then she looked at their videos, and then she looked at their breakup video and saw, oh my gosh. And then she realized they were lying, and then she reached out to me. I think that's how this all went down.
Yeah.
I want to get into Dad Challenge podcast because obviously he has been ultra complicated in your life. He's spent, I mean, his career is probably like 70% hating on you.
I'd say like 30%.
I want to cut at this point, you know? Like, come on, can we split the shares here?
She keeps telling me to give her some money. I'll send her some. I'll send you a hoodie if you want, Kyra. I'll send you one of these. This is an expensive one. This is a champion. I'll send you one. If you promise to wear this, Kyra, I will send you one of these. Okay? I'll give you a cut.
Yeah.
How is that? Because every time he posts a video, you know he's probably gonna, not even probably, like he's gonna snark on you, as he would say. How's that been?
It's been obnoxious for sure. I mean,
Shucks, Kyra.
weirdly like grateful that I'm in a position, like how cool somebody cares to like make a video 5 minutes after I upload.
Literally,
like that's
yeah.
wild, you know? So on one hand, I'm like, that's pretty cool. I got like my own paparazzi over here. I mean, I'm sad that it's not real paparazzi, it's him, but like the grand scheme of things, I try to be grateful about it. It's just, again, it affects so many people in my personal life. And recently I actually...
Only one way to avoid it, Kyra. Get off the internet. We've had this conversation in depth over the last couple of weeks, especially with the tragedies with these children that are dying and stuff like that. You do not get privacy anymore. That's it. You want to become famous? This comes with it. I am your karma. That's it.
Actually had a conversation.
Also, it's funny to snark on her. It's like comfort snark.
With him, very short. And it was
with Josh.
Mm-hmm. And he was kind.
Wait, what? What did she say?
But that was kind of, it's just, again, it affects so many people in my personal life. And recently I actually had a conversation with him, very short. And it was
with Josh.
Mm-hmm. And he was kind, but that was kind of my, like, the math really isn't mathing here. Like, and I.
All right, I'll tell you how it went down. Okay, so we had a conversation. So when this has happened to a couple of creators, look, I'm not a monster. Okay, I know they think I'm a monster. I'm not a monster. Same kind of thing happened with It's Our Life. I hate them. Okay, they're a bunch of dickholes. I just despise them. But I'm also a human being. When her husband cheated on her, I reached out and I said, I'm just not gonna cover this. Like, your channel's dead anyway. This is like, your marriage is destroyed. Like, I'm not going to jump on this. So I just want to let you know that you don't have to worry about that. And so, like, same thing kind of happened with Kyra. People were sending me pictures of the new pregnancy and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, I had to run. I said, look, it's going to come out soon, just so you're aware. And I was like, I'm not going to cover it till you cover it. And so far it's not been anything. She hasn't said anything yet. So, and that's why I was like, maybe she knows and or maybe she isn't. And I didn't want to cover it because it's not definitive until she says it's definitive. And she was like, and also someone had sent me a picture of her brand new house, and I wasn't going to cover that. And I sent her, I was like, just so you're aware. I mean, I need you to know that people already know where you're moving to, because she was so adamant about not telling everybody where she was going to live and everything else. And I was just trying to be like, hey, look, just so you know what's out there. And then she's like, why are you being nice? I'm like, I'm not. I don't want to see you get hurt. I want to make sure you understand. I hope someone would also extend me that courtesy. If someone's, sending pictures of my house to people, they would reach out to me. Like, again, I'm not, look, yes, I'm an asshole. I am an asshole to these people. They deserve it. Okay. Child exploiters deserve to be bullied. That's just, I've said it, bully child exploiters. But at the same time, I understand that they are human. Okay. We all are. And in the real world, if they were to approach me and get in my face, of course I would be like, okay, well, don't get in my face. But I would never go up and be like, hey, asshole, and swear. I would never do that. I don't know. So that's what she's saying.
I did say you're kind of this way on here, but then you're that way there. And he was like, well, I'm not a monster. And my response was, well, I think we have different versions of what that is, because I will say he's a hard worker. That guy puts out a video,
pumps out
quick, and he has personality and all of it. But he said, his thing to me was, well, it's my job. And I'm like, well, your job is my life. It's not just my job.
No, that's a lie. My job is to call it child exploiters. You're one of them. And influencer culture in general too. I can take, but no, your job is your life, Kyra. So what you're saying there doesn't make any sense, because you film your life for your job. So yes, it is too. So what you're saying doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So talk all the shit you want about me, but please be mindful that my kids are watching these videos. And
I told her, I'm not going to show you the conversation, but yeah, I said, hey, that's silly. My show is not for children to watch. And even though some people will reach out to me who are fans, are like, oh, my daughter's watching with me. And I'm like, how old are your daughters? And they're like, 12. I'm like, no, it's not for kids, man. I've never said it's for kids. It should never be consumed by children. Not even the influencers' children that I talk about, they should not be watching my videos. It is not for children. And I told her, I'm like, that's your responsibility as a parent to monitor what your child is watching, and don't let them watch it. Pretty sure Oscar doesn't let the kids watch it. Why are you letting your kid just willy-nilly go on the internet and watch this? Because that's not my responsibility. It's yours. And that makes it even crazier that you don't monitor your child, what they're watching on YouTube. First of all, let's rewind it here. Don't let your kids ever go on YouTube, like, unless you're there with them, monitoring what they're watching. That's a dangerous place for children to be, people.
And everybody wants to say, through like my breakup and all these different situations, that, you know, oh my God, her kid.
Anna, you're too young to watch some sort of 15. It's just on the edge, maybe. But dang. Yeah.
And it's like, actually, my kids now live in a home where they're not hiding from their parents fighting. They know what a happy relationship looks like in both homes.
Yeah.
And they see their parents happy.
Oops.
They know that like they don't have to stay in a situation that they're not in. Sure, there's things that they're also probably going to be like, Mom, like, what were you thinking? And
Why is there a dildo ad next to pictures of us having fun at the park? They're going to ask you that question someday, Kyra.
we'll have that conversation when that time comes, because like, I don't want my kids to think every choice I made was a great one, you know? But at this point, the videos of that people are making saying like, imagine what the kids think. Those are the
Gabby. Josh, stop making fun of her saying both. Well, then stop saying both.
videos that my
There's no
kids are
excuse for that.
watching and that they feel some type of way of, because they're excited to watch that somebody made a video about mom or dad, and
Then they're
then
caught
it's
off
that.
guard.
Don't
Yeah.
let them watch it.
And so
no,
actually-
no. You don't let them watch it. You say, hey, if you see that bald fat potato guy and they're talking about me, don't watch that video. I'd appreciate it. Not till you're a lot older. You can say that. Like, go for it. That guy is mean to me. He is not nice. I'm your mother, and I don't want you watching that stuff. You put your foot down and you just say, stop watching fat bald potato asshole guy. Say it and make it work. Do not let your children watch this stuff, people.
Actually, you're the one who's traumatizing my kids, even though you're the one saying that you want to protect the kids. So that's been really.
And that's a pivot, right? That's when they're projecting. I'm the one who's hurting their kids because I'm calling out I will not stand for that. Okay, I will not. These people who say I secondary exploit children, and my haters like, oh, he's an exploiter himself. It's like they think I exclusively only talk about the children for some reason, which is completely ridiculous because I talk about the parents. Okay? Sometimes the kids are in there for a video here and there for whatever is going on, but I'm not snarking on children. Okay? Never. Those children are the victims of all this. And so when they say that, that's deflection, and I will not tolerate that.
Really frustrating. Like, I try to just respect that, like, he's career driven, like he sees the money and he's just trying to, but also I'm like, you're a dad, you're a husband. Like, at one point, I think he was like a pastor. Like, what are you doing? Like, really, what is the logic?
I mean, the logic is petty with a purpose. The logic is if you exploit children, if you're a trash bag on the internet influencing people to be trash bags, I'm going to call you out for it. That's what I do here. It's how I literally exist in this ecosystem as this person. You know how an ecosystem works, right? If you look in like a frog pond or something, or a fish tank, there's different fish that do different things and it all comes together nicely. In the world of influencing culture and family vlogging and vlogging in general, where you put things out there, personal information, videos about yourself, the real and rawness of it all, everybody's going to have a comment. There's not much difference between what I do and a negative comment in your comment section. Okay? But I exist in this ecosystem, and I have to exist in this ecosystem. There has to be checks and balances. I am the check and balance to what the shit that you guys are putting out there. Influencers, child exploiters, people who do dumb stuff. I am the check and balance. And if that doesn't happen, then this isn't fun. Okay? Also, you do get attention from it, from your haters. I embrace my haters. Like, they watch every moment of every video. They watch every breath and every flare of my nostril and every lost hair off the top of my forehead. They watch everything. You do embrace it. But this is an ecosystem, and this is how it works. And if you don't want to be a part of that ecosystem, you don't have to be. That's the beauty of choice here. But it's also the reason that I'm so adamant against it, because you put your child into this ecosystem without their consent, and they will never be able to consent to being in this ecosystem. Do you understand that? And that's why this is so damn important, what we talk about. Hope that helps.
Be curious to know.
Yeah, well, he'll be on the show, so we'll get his logic.
You're brave.
It's fascinating, kind of like what you're saying. I want to talk to him. I do want to understand the angle. Real quick, the child exploitation piece.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on Isaac's show recently. It kind of fell through because of the stupid kitchen renovation, and he's busy. And we are going to make it happen, though. We're going to make it happen. I think Isaac and I have a really great conversation because I respect what he does. I like that he's he's coming on here and like I was like, man, you can be mean to me. You can ask anything you want. You can tear my shit to shreds. If you've got the opportunity to tear me down and like prove me wrong, I'm all ears. I am all ears. But I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna apologize for being unabashedly who I am. Okay? Am I mean sometimes? Sometimes, you know, I sit here and I think, oh man, maybe I'm too mean sometimes, right? But at the same time, I'm like, but there's, you know, there's purpose to the pettiness, and it's where I exist in the ecosystem. I don't know how else to say that, but like, and then other times I'm like, you know, I hope I'm not so mean that it's going to affect them so badly. Like I do wrestle with it sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm still human, and I know that these people are still human, but man, I can't be sorry for being the guy that's standing up for these kids on the internet because no one else seems to be doing it. So you know, that's my like back and forth.
Because it's a good segue because that's his bread and butter. You've taken your kids completely offline. I think you've done an incredible job, by the way.
Yeah, we do have to give her credit where credit's due. She's tried her best until the video with her daughter on her birthday where she didn't, but I will give credit where credit is due. She did that. Okay, and I'm pretty sure Oscar's flirting with the idea of going back on that. So I hope he doesn't.
Given how you started and like that was so normal for you and now you're like not putting them on.
Yeah.
Just talk about that.
I think that I was one of those people when, you know, that first came out of like, take your kids off the internet. I was like, people are so dramatic. Like who's using their kids for content? Like, and I genuinely felt that way. Like I know a lot of family creators and I have yet to meet one where I'm like, they are exploiting their children. Or
are you shitting me right now? Then why did you take your kids off if you don't believe that you're exploiting your children? What?
Or even that they're not very good moms. I don't surround myself. If I don't think you're a good mom, I automatically just don't like you as a human.
You're not a good mom.
So I don't think I didn't think that could be a thing. And I made videos on like people are so dramatic. Like that's just ridiculous.
No, you're not getting away with that. You don't get to get away with that. You're being dramatic. You think that we're all just like over dramatizing this whole thing with child privacy, child's content, kids not getting privacy, kids being exploited for money. Like I've recently been in contact with a child from a family vlog. I'm not going to tell you who it is. They've asked me to keep them completely anonymous. Okay. But they are above the age of 18 and asking questions about like what's like. And I'm telling you, none of these kids like, I mean, maybe a small, tiny percentage, but the exception is not the rule. The rule is these kids hate their lives. Okay. They are forced to work. They are coerced into working. This child labor. Like there's pressure on these children to act and be a certain way so their parents can pay the bills, and the parents trick their kids into doing this and they coerce them into doing it. They blackmail them into doing it. Like, no, you don't get to be like, well, it's so dramatic. Yeah, we should be more dramatic. There should be bigger rules and more laws in place. Are you kidding me right now?
And then I had friends that took their kids off the internet and I'm like, well, you're dramatic, but okay. Like,
fuck you.
I'm going to keep my kids on the internet.
Sure.
Because my kids were having fun. They liked being in videos. I liked watching the video back like years later. Like that was an awesome thing that I was able to do. I think that we experienced way more in life when they were on camera. And then it was like, that's the thing. That shows right there that like,
yeah, that's dangerous.
That's where things change. And so I originally took my kids off the internet because I received a video, and I'll just leave that there. People can just like it wasn't a video of me, but people altered a video and it involved my kids.
Take in what she just told you guys there. She was sent a video of artificial intelligence that involved her children. And that's what it took. And before she thought everybody's just being dramatic. Okay, so I was a little bit upset at her saying that because I thought she was saying that in real time. Okay, I get that. But then see what it took, though, for an influencer to stop doing that, right? But there are influencers out there who know that content exists about their children, and they still don't care. That's the craziest part. So credit where credit is due. She gets this proof of it's happening, and then she takes her kids off the internet. So credit where credit is due. But at the same time, like, I then would take my platform at that point and like make sure everybody's educated in the fact that this happened and they should all do the same thing. But she doesn't, right? You shouldn't have to. But like, okay, but there are influencers who have had that same proof sent to them, who have read the creepy comments from adult grown men in their daughter's content and their pages and just don't give a crap. And that's why this world is so crazy.
And I immediately called Oscar and was like, we've got to stop. Like, we need to at least take them off right now while we like pending talk about this and decide. And of course he was like, that's crazy. Like, we absolutely will take them off. So we both took them off. And ever since, we just really haven't talked about it, but continued to take them off the internet. So just as time has gone on, I've been like, I'm really glad that I did that. And also the pressure of just, even if the kids are having fun, like, hey, can you do that again for the camera? Like, think about like, just as, I mean, you have a daughter, like you do that with her, not for YouTube, but just like, oh my God, that was cute. Do it again. But when you're doing it on YouTube, you do it even more.
Yeah.
And it is.
She talked about this a lot at depth in one of her videos.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a
And
slippery slope.
the mentality also changes from like doing it because it's like, that was cute. That was a cute laugh. Or you walked for the first time to, oh, people will love that. That will get more views if you do that.
Totally.
Yep.
And then that's where it just slowly can become more toxic. So it's not like it has to be drastic like I thought. Like, it can be in little ways. And so, yeah, I'm glad that I did it. I don't think there will ever be a day where I will put them back on camera. It is hard because my older ones now, you know, they're like,
Yeah.
I want to make a YouTube video. And it sucks because like their friends will, but their friends also
Don't let your kids on YouTube, guys. Stop. Okay, don't.
have the opportunity to post a video and say and do whatever and maybe not
Yeah,
be
10
canceled
people
right away.
watch and-
Yeah. And my kids don't have that. If they make a video right away, the wrong people are going to find it. And I'm sure great people would find it too, but more than likely a drama channel is going to find it and then show that video, but blur their face and be like, I'm not exploiting them, even though they're reposting the video.
It's not exploitation to display it. It's not. I'm sorry. If you put it out there and someone else puts it out there when they're talking about you, that's not exploitation. You started it. You put it out there. We're just covering it. I hate that stupid excuse. I know she's on my SNARK thread. I know that they say this all the time. It's such a stupid, stupid phrase. Secondary exploitation. It's F off, man. If you never put your kids out to begin with, it would never be out there ever. So spare me that bullshit excuse.
So it's just not necessary. If they still have that passion and desire when they're older, then they're more than welcome. I will be fully supportive of it. But until their frontal lobe is more of a frontal lobe, then
Your frontal lobe isn't even a frontal
I'm not
lobe.
going to make that choice for them.
Funny, that's the exact reason why Allie has different opinions, but why not on sharing them. She doesn't want to share Scotty, our daughter, either. But like,
Good for Allie. Allie's awesome.
I don't want to share her because of what you said of like, I never want to get in a moment where I'm like, I wish we would have filmed that.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, this would get so many likes.
And it's so much more freeing being a parent like that. I promise you. Like, I know so many influencers who have taken their kids down and then they just a freedom, a release of they feel so good about it. And like, it does feel good and you should do it.
Because that's real. Like, that feeling is real.
Plus, really quickly, if you go to Disneyland, let's say with your daughter, if you go just as you normally go, because I think I saw you guys just went to Disneyland,
we did.
you are going to just enjoy the day. You're going to take pictures and videos, of course. But imagine if you knew you had to make a video during that day and had to be a certain amount of time long. It had to be interesting. You need a title and thumbnail. Don't forget to take the picture. All of a sudden, all those intimate moments with your daughter that you may have had.
But it's work.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you still don't enjoy it or that you're abusing her all of a sudden. It just means that
It means that she's working.
it did take away from that experience.
It does. Yeah, she's right. 100%.
What's even more sad is that from her perspective, it's the same. I think that's what's scary because they're so innocent.
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird. It's exploitation.
Yeah.
It seems like you find a lot of joy through your kids too.
I really find so much purpose.
Yeah, did she just throw Just Fam under the bus right now? Uh-oh, Just Fam's don't cross Just Fam.
And being a mother and like, not even like what it makes me feel as a mom, but like watching my kids experience the world and like being able to be a part of their journey and like, I get to be somebody's mom. Like, somebody gets to look at me, and I didn't grow up really I had a mom in the room, but there was no mom in the room. So I get to be important to somebody and play a role in their life. And I get to watch them do amazing things.
Here's the thing. I honestly believe that Kyra does love her children. I really do. And I honestly believe her and Oscar at the beginning of OK Baby didn't think it was wrong. And then they did. And she admits this. And so does Oscar. They later found out that like this is just crazy. And the first video I ever did of OK Baby was when he crashed a drone into his child's face. And they filmed it all. And they were so excited and giddy about it. I remember it very clearly. But she's right. And again, credit where credit is due. She just... Too late, though, sometimes, you know?
Probably make some mistakes, but also, you know, hold their hand while they do that because that's hard.
Last thing that we always, the only other scripted question, you see my notes?
I love the notes.
The notes are great. I'm a liar.
There's no notes.
I'm a liar. It's just like, where are you now? You're kind of back in the wild, wild west, right? Where it's like new you, you're not showing your kids new content journey. Like, who is Kyra now?
I would say that's another good question. You have good questions. Your scripted questions are good questions.
They're not scripted.
I think right now I am, you know, getting comfortable with who I am and realizing who I am will always change. You know, there's like that saying that
I'm comfortable with who I am, but I'm about to change. That makes sense. That totally, yeah, you know, I get that.
like you're just trying to find yourself. You never find yourself, but that's the good thing. You're always on that journey, and the journey is always better. So cheesy than the destination, but it's true. And so, you know, I'm trying to just learn to appreciate like getting there and like going through all the ups and downs. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm in a happier place, and I'm really grateful, and I love being a mom. And yeah, I'm just like learning to love myself, you know?
Kyra.
Okay.
Yeah, I just look forward to everybody listening to this.
Thank
you.
This is good. I like the music he uses for this. Very vibey. All right. So there we go, everybody. That was a long... Damn, we've been going for almost 2 hours. So, you know, a couple takeaways. Liar, liar, pants on fire for literally most of that whole thing. And then at the end, he softens it up a bit. And she... honestly, the softest part about this video is how she did have grace for our conversations. And I get that. But there's just a lot of lies in there. So many lies. I don't know how you sleep with your farts lying like that. But no, Isaac did a great job. Isaac and I are going to get together and do a podcast. And I think we're going to have a lot of great things to say. He's going to have some good hard questions for me. And I welcome the challenge. Like, I welcome to be pushed on, to be like, and I've told any family vlogger wants to come on my show, you come on my show. If you can convince me that what you do is okay, if you have some kind of explanation I've never heard, I'm happy to hear it. And I absolutely mean that. I'm not joking. Like, if there's something I'm missing, right? And you've got something, but it's been what, 5 years now? Nothing yet. But I'm willing to hear it. And I'm willing to hear that sometimes I can be a bit mean. And I get that, right? I'm getting a lot softer in my old age. I'll tell you that much. That's for sure. But I'm aware of who I am and how I exist in this ecosystem. And so all that said, I'm not going to stop. We're just getting started. And so people like Kyra and them who are going to do dirty, they're going to get called out. If you don't want to exist, you know, this is the best takeaway from this whole thing. This ecosystem exists in a way that there is a creator that creates things. And there are people who consume it, who like it. And there are people who consume it, who hate it. Okay? And then there's money involved, and those people who watch it pay that creator. Okay? That ecosystem exists, and it's very lucrative. Very damn lucrative, okay? That's a good idea. But if you don't want to exist on the ecosystem, that is absolutely your choice to make. You don't have to. You can actually exit the ecosystem anytime, and you'll be forgotten within a matter of weeks. Okay? But what can't happen, what shouldn't be happening, is that children should not also exist in that ecosystem, because they can never give informed consent to being a part of that. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't exist in an ecosystem where they are commented on for whatever reason. Doesn't matter how cute they are, or if they did something stupid, or whatever the case may be, because that's what will happen. There should be no reason that there are comments that exist from adult people commenting about how beautiful a child is, or how cute a child is, or what their first date or their period. There should never be that dynamic, that dichotomy. It should never exist. And that is crazy that it does. There is this dichotomy exists between children on the internet that parents have forced them to be on, and grown adult people, including predators, who have parasocial relationships with them. That should never, ever happen. And if you've got something to say about that I'm wrong about it, I'm happy to hear it. So she definitely needs my money and she can't have any. But I will send her a hoodie. I'll send her one. But guys, thanks for being here for these conversations. This was fun. And I think we had some good moments in this thing. There's some good stuff. Isaac pushed a lot of that stuff out of her that allowed us to have an honest conversation via Isaac. And I think that was pretty cool. So I definitely want to get together with Isaac. Maybe I'll fly to where he is and make it easier on him. Because I think they're in California or something. I'd rather go there. It's kind of nice, right? Go see Annie. Maybe do a video with Annie while I'm out there. But here, I'll push this back. Sorry. I'm not centered. But there we go, everybody. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to go to my store, thedadchallengepodcast.com, and order your hoodie today. This is Tyson's company. Don't forget, this is Tyson. So, never forever. A lot of people thought this was DCP, and I understand now. So they thought this was the D, and like the C was here or something, and this was the P. I mean, it looks like it is, but it's not. It's never forever. And so what this means is that nothing lasts forever. So live your life. All right? So thanks for being here, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow for a Doherty Dozen video. It's going to be a good one.